Hey there, fellow entrepreneurs. I'm Sue, and you've just stepped into Entrepreneurs Gone Wild. Every week, I'll introduce you to a friend of mine, a remarkable entrepreneur who's not just changing the world, but also harnessing a secret weapon, time outdoors. Together, we'll dive into their journey, unpack invaluable business advice, and discover why embracing the wild is not just good for the soul, but also a goldmine for inspiration and innovation. Ready to uncover the secret that's boosting bottom lines and fueling joy? Hit subscribe and join us in the wild. Ladies and gentlemen, this one's going to be really fun. I'm excited to introduce to you Hayden Bloomfield. He's an entrepreneur who's passionate about sustainability and innovative marketing. He founded the In the Garden company. It's a landscaping company that used fully electric equipment to provide eco-friendly services. His journey led him to create Pink Panda. That's what's now. And it's a marketing agency that helps small and medium enterprises scale by attracting ideal clients and team members. We need that, right? So through Pink Panda, Hayden creates efficient, automated marketing strategies that turn attention into action for businesses looking to grow. Get ready to meet an entrepreneur who's shaping a sustainable future and revolutionizing business growth, and you've got to hear his 100-year goal. So this is cool. Hayden, welcome to Entrepreneurs Gone Wild. I'm really happy that you're here.
Thank you, Sue. I love the intro. You've really sold me well.
A lot of guests are like, can I have that? Yes. So, all right. So let's start with the first question I always ask, which is, who are you serving and what problems are you helping to solve with them?
Who am I serving? Currently with Pink Panda, the people we're serving is who I was years back. And as a service-based business that's trying to go from SME to SME, being more of the medium than the small. And yeah, we work with trade businesses and business service professionals. So it's businesses that I've either been customers of or I've been working alongside for years. And it's all focused around who are the people they need to bring their vision to fruition. So to build your vision, you need people. That is your dream team that you'll employ, the dream clients you'll work with, and then partners you can collaborate with that will help the first two become easier to find. So it's identifying those people and then building systems to draw them in so we get their attention, hold the attention of those people, and then from that attention, as you said, turn it into action where they become team members or they become customers. And it's through collecting data, getting people to interact with your business and learning about you and filtering them through so that by the time you interact with someone, you know them well and they know you well.
That's so great. Man, that's all right. That's meaty. Let's unpack this a little bit. What is it like for somebody who's working with you? Is it kind of an agency model? Like, are you coaching them? Like, how does that work out?
It's the funny thing, so it's a bit like business strategy meets marketing, and the company's completely changed over the last few months. So it's really changed a lot over December, January. Took on an investor, got an office, employed 3 people, and that was just a couple of the things I did in January. And so the actual retainer service that I'm building out, we don't offer it yet, apart from we're guinea pigging it with my first company. And we've got a goal there that I'm trying to be quite public with. So in 3 months, we want to double the monthly recurring revenue in the business. So if we don't achieve that, then that's going to be a bit awkward. But we've got our first onboard. We were supposed to have our first onboards in April, but we've got one starting in March ahead of schedule. And so for the last year and a half, I've just been playing around with what the business model will be. And it was started, my friends joked that I was semi-retired, which was just because I had a lot of free time and I wanted to build another company. So I was playing around with what Pink Panda was and evolved it into something, but realized I needed a team in order to do what I wanted to do. So then got an investor, recruited, and there we are now.
Wow. So this kind of how did that happen? That's a whole, having that shift is a huge pivot. And then, how did this come to you? The whole pivot that you've done.
Yeah, it was in my first company with doing garden maintenance. I had a skill set, and then I had a long list of things that I sucked at. And my worst skills were retaining staff. And I think I've come to learn I'm very harsh on myself, but I describe it as I had the terrible ability to retain staff. I also was doing all of that through lockdown. So I took on my third employee in the garden company. I took my third employee on in February 2020. So less than a month into their job, we hit a lockdown. And through the following like 2 years after that, it's just like this roller coaster. So lockdown hit, overnight, half the business disappeared. And then it's like, are we key workers? Are we not? Because we kind of are key workers. Like if we're looking after a care home, it's critical that we keep the ground safe for people coming in and out. But then for a multimillionaire in their rose bed, it's not really critical work to show up on their grounds and look after it. And many of them did argue it was. Or if we worked for a lot of vulnerable people. So it was like, well, this is key work. So it was always this gray area, but we could work. And then I had like staff where they were having kind of like mental breakdowns and a lot of panics, and some people just locked their doors and didn't come out. And I had a lot of things where just staff members had issues and health problems and all sorts. So although it was this revolving door of staff, it wasn't all because I alienated everybody. I mean,
it wasn't you sucked at a boss. It's just...
Yeah. But I did alienate people quite a lot because I think I came across very ruthless and robotic. And it was just, I was so focused on the long-term vision. I was willing, like I didn't pay myself a salary for a long time. I worked every hour, every waking hour, and I was obsessed with making sure the customer was happy and like would work through any conditions and would absolutely graft. And so then when it came to building a team, I was like, well, if they can do half of what I do, then that's cool. But half of what I did was still kind of lunacy. And so there was always this, when I look back, what I should have done is I had a really great worker who I should have let lead operations and said, right, you're managing operations now. I'm stepping back from it because they could get the job done and could manage a team better than me, to be honest. And then I should have just focused on the marketing, because what I was really good at was getting people drawn to the business. So I used to make loads of content and was just obsessed with this journey of like, I've just been fascinated by the human mind for as long as I can remember. And like in primary school, I used to like psychologically analyze people and would look at the journey of, if I'm looking for someone to look after, if I'm looking for a customer, just obsessing over who that person is as much as possible, and every question we need to answer in order for them to trust us to look after their grounds and their garden, and the questions that they're asking, but even the questions they don't realize they need to ask. And I would do the same thing for staff, like obsessing over how do I draw people to this business, despite the fact I've got a micro business that no one really cares about. And I got really good where I would step into a garden and people would be like, when can you start? And I would also have people applying for jobs just like, when can I start? This is phenomenal. I'm so excited. And so that was what my skill set was the marketing and the branding to draw those people in. So that's kind of that combined with where I had this very long-term goal. I was like, well, I need to go find the people I can learn from. So I was doing a lot of networking and having like one-to-ones, grabbing coffees with people. And I was like, I want to do this more and more and more and like do more with it. So that's where I started a podcast myself and was interviewing people that had achieved the things I wanted to achieve. And so I was making content there. In my garden company, I was making loads of content. And I would outsource bits and work with creatives, but they were kind of focused on the thing that they do, like making a great animation, making a great video. Whereas I was like, it's not that important to have, the video is not that important. What's important is how you communicate it and going into the psychology of that. And then in the video, the psychology of how you break it down to keep people's attention. And so I was focusing on doing more of that myself. And so that's what kind of led, when I shrunk the garden company down, I had a lot of free time and then had this podcast, and then I was just chatting to a lot of business owners and ended up kind of like consulting with this business on their business plan, and was like, I want to be building a company that does this, and it's all around content, marketing. And so I built the company that I wish existed in my first company.
That's so cool. I mean, that's the thing I love with entrepreneurs is like we see a problem, right? We probably had the problem. We figure out the problem, and then we're like, hey, wait a second, other people need this too? Like, that's crazy. And for you to have seen, like, this is the company I wish I had, that's cool. So how is that going? Like, you've got a lot of exciting things coming up. Like you said, you're building in public. I have so many questions at once. Let me do one at a time. How has it been, like, building in public? That's a little scary. You've got this marker, like you said, you've been very public. Here's what we're doing. Here's what we're aiming at. What is that like?
It's not fun. It's like, I think I like pressure, because it's the same thing with like the investor and employing the staff in Pink Panda, the team. We've got like a 3-month runway, and we've got to become cash flow positive in that time. Obviously, like, the investor's very supportive and it's like, look, I think it's going to take longer, but still, it's like, we've got months to turn it around and be cash flow positive, otherwise we're buggered. And I'm not taking a salary the entire time, so it's like, right, I'm not taking a salary anyway, and then we've got a few months of runway that's like, if we don't make it work, then oh bugger. And I like that pressure, and I like being quite public with it, and I like sharing that with people because it's exciting and things are going well. I'm quite critical of myself, and I don't like to accept anything as ever being good enough. But we've just done our first event, so like I have this system that when we work with a client, I call it my GPCP. So it's if you're a service-based business, having gifts, a prospect offer, your core offer, and profit pump. So that's like how we line up services when we work with clients to make sure they've got that in place. So like our gifts, we have things like a lot of online quizzes and whatnot. We'll be like, how effective is your marketing? Take our quiz to find out and get your score. And then we've just done an event, and where I said, like, I built this company based on what I wish existed. I've put this event on recently. I called it Your Launch, and it was all about scaling a business and building a team. So I put the event on for what like I needed to hear in my early 20s when I was really struggling to retain the team. So the event had guest speakers that were sharing insights around how to protect yourself, your team, and your business as you scale. So we had like a HR consultant who's got a HR company, founder of an IT company, of an accountancy firm, and a business coach, all talking around like the journey of taking on your first employee, then getting to like your first 5, your first 10, your first 20, and how to look after them and your business and protect yourself and what you need to be aware of. And so that was a great, exciting event, and we're going to be doing more in the future that are all around kind of business milestones. So like we're going to do one on raising investment, we're going to do one on selling your business, and then the guest speakers will be people that have achieved those things and do those things, sharing insights. So our first event was a lot of fun. We'd done it on a Friday evening, and I woke up on Saturday morning and just wrote a long list of what sucked and what needs to be better. I got set up everything, like got an office. The first thing I did when we got the office, I painted a 10-foot Pink Panda on the wall, and like had 3 employees that started. And I realized, it occurred to me, I remember walking into the office one day, and at no point did I like actually stand there and just be like, this is my office, like this is my company's office. This is something I just thought of and like have turned into something real and tangible. And at no point, I still haven't done that yet. And I was just aware that I haven't done it. And I'm like, I should probably like appreciate this at some point. And I was like bugger to that. I'm just like, no, I need to get work done. I'll do that in 10 years time. And I just haven't done it, and I just never will. And I think that's kind of the pain of like running a business now. You're always just looking at like, especially like the longer term you set goals. And as you said in the intro, like I've got 100-year goals. So I'm just kind of like, well, I got 99 years and 6 months. I better crack on. I can't be thinking about what I've done.
Yeah, I mean, I get you. I'm also like, oh no, wait. Like, all right, you got to share the 100-year goal now, because we're going to talk about that in a sec. Go ahead.
Yeah, the 100-year goal is around it's just, I want to see humanity reach a point where as a human you are born with free access to warmth, shelter, nutritional food, and clean water. And to me, it just seemed bizarre that collective human intelligence hasn't achieved that. Like Maslow's hierarchy of needs, just the level 1 of what we need in order to survive. Because if every human had that and it was all catered for, it then means that we can pursue our passions and interests because all of the fundamentals are met. And to me, I was like, one common thing in the way my brain works is I just never accept things out the way they are. And that's like since I was in primary school, into college, into business, so just the amount of times people would be like, oh, it's just the way it is. Like in my garden company, people would, oh, it's winter, it's dead, there's no work going around. I'm like, yeah, I don't believe that. I won't accept it. Winter's the most profitable time of the business because we do so much work there. And I've changed the business, like worked out the business model so that it works all year round. And so the same thinking applied there, where I was like, well, the fundamentals of human need are to be warm, to have shelter, to get nutritional food and clean water. And it's like, how can I imagine the concept where that is funded for humanity? And so I started theorizing it and putting it together, and I just want humanity to achieve it. So I figured the more I'm vocal about it, and I think one of the biggest catalysts will be someone that's got hundreds of millions of pounds, dollars, whatever, decides to put their entire wealth into it. And I was like, well, I think the easiest route is if I can make hundreds of millions myself and then use that to fund the idea, that'll be the easiest way to do it.
That's huge. You know, it's so wild. Everybody talks about like, how are you going to do this? How are you going to do that? The deeper question is like, why? Why do you want to do this? I think the even deeper question is who, right? So who is it? Like, so you've seen humanity, like there's something in you, and I would love to know, like, what was it that drew you to seeing this need and going, all right, everybody says that's impossible. I don't think so. I think I can do it. Like, having that maybe contrarian personality, I could see you going, forget about impossible. I'm totally doing this. But how did this happen? Like, what drew you? There's a million different goals you could have picked that are audacious, huge, all this. And this one, this is gigantic, but what made it this goal in particular?
A couple of things. So one is there's a statistic I remind myself of every day, and it's your chances of existence. So your chances of existing as the exact individual that you are, somewhere someone decided to do the maths and worked out that it's 1 in 400 trillion. And I remind myself every day that I'm 1 in 400 trillion. So the odds that I would exist is basically almost impossible. You're more likely to win the lottery, go buy a ticket and win the lottery again. So you've won the lottery that is life. And I feel like, well, if I beat those odds, whenever I come up with a crazy idea and people are like, you can't do that, and I'll be like, you realize we both exist, we've beaten the impossible odd. And so kept thinking that way. And then on my phone, my screensaver is Mars, and it's to do with, in my opinion, humanity's biggest goal is to become multiplanetary, and the fact that humans are trying to get to Mars so that we've got a plan B and we're not just all eggs in one basket. And to me, I'm like, humans are literally working out how we're going to get to another planet. And I'm like, can't be that hard to just feed everyone and shelter everyone and give them clean water. So I don't know, I'm trying to remember specifically how the idea came about. And it's, to be honest, it's a goal that I think will be done with nothing to do with me. I just feel like the more I scream about it, the more, because I had a conversation with someone about it and they were like, I don't think you could do it. And I was like, why not? And then I was explaining something about some form of resource, and I was like, well, yeah, find the solution. You've just given me a problem. In order to achieve this, it's just taking a bunch of problems and solving them. And throwing money at it is not going to solve it. Although I say it's going to take someone with hundreds of millions, it's not just taking hundreds of millions and throwing the problem. It's it annoys me when I hear people say oh, the cost of world hunger is 3 billion. And it's oh yeah, if you took all of these people's net worth, Jeff Bezos and Bill Gates, Elon Musk, they could literally just give the money over. And it's no, they can't. That's not how it works. And you can't buy world hunger, the solution to it. It's all a distribution of resource, and it's building the resources in order to cater it. So I was just thinking about what the world would look like if, I don't know, I think I heard of Maslow's hierarchy of needs and level 1. I was just isn't it funny that human intelligence just hasn't solved that? That's level 1 and we haven't solved it. And I was like, what would it look like to solve it? And I just started playing around and calculating how it could be done. And I came up with an idea that you could do with a few million quid. And I was like, I'm going to try that. I've got to make the millions first, but I'm going to try that and see if it works, and then scale it and scale it. And then the idea is prove a concept with 20,000 people and then take it to the government and say, the idea is that if you can provide that for humans, and as a result of providing it, the quality of life is so much higher that it actually saves costs on things like disease, mental health, and whatnot. So in the UK, we have the NHS. So if I can prove that by putting whatever it is, 100 million into this concept, and it means that life is so much more enjoyable and pleasurable, and therefore, and it's just healthier and happier, that 100 million has actually saved the NHS 120 million. It's well, there we go. If we feed 100 million in more hundreds of millions into this for more people, we're saving more and more money on the NHS in England. So therefore it's just simple maths of
it's just extrapolation at that point. Yeah. That's wild. All right, so how do they connect? So obviously Pink Panda, you could throw yourself into this, grow it, this could end up creating millions and millions of dollars that you could pour into it. Do you have how do you go, I love this. You saw a problem, you didn't cause this problem, you took ownership of it, you're building your entire life around this, lending your voice to it, adding credibility, pointing out the logic flaws of this totally could be fixed. We could totally do this. How does this work out in your practical, how do you, let me start that again. How do you approach your work with Pink Panda with this in mind? This has got to be the forefront of your mind every day then. If you have that big of a goal, it's there, it's running. How does that translate into what you're doing on the daily?
Yeah, I mean, it's part of the recruitment process in Pink Panda. So I tell people the 100-year goal. But the plan is essentially, so over the next 5 years, I want to build Pink Panda into a company that's sort of a team of 50. Aspirationally, I'd like it to do 10 million in revenue. And the idea is that Pink Panda will become part of a group. So I want to go on a bit of a shopping spree over the next few years of buying companies. So my investor has got a lot of experience building and selling companies. And then what I'm doing a lot at the moment is just trying to learn about buying companies. So hence why, like, one of the future events I want to hold is all about selling and buying companies. So then speakers will be those that have sold and bought companies. And then I can be like, you've bought companies. Do you want to help me buy a company? And so the idea is Pink Panda is going to become the entity that can launch and scale a company. So we do all the marketing systems to draw the people in to build a company. And then I want to buy like an accountancy firm, HR company, recruitment company, and essentially form a group that is business services. So we can buy a business and basically, like people buy and flip properties, I want to buy and flip businesses. So I'll form this group, and then we buy companies, and then we put them through getting Pink Pandaized, so that all of their systems are built so that they draw in the right people, go through the process of all of our HR systems, recruitment processes and everything. So they're onboarding, looking after, and then the accountancy firms doing all of their numbers to keep them on track there. So what you've got is just this machine of efficiency that takes companies, especially like with the world we're in, like the amount of boomers that are coming towards retirement that have got, like, my ideal is finding boomers that have got companies that they haven't modernized yet, and they've got like a management team thinking we really need to modernize here, and they're thinking, I'm retiring soon, I don't want to deal with all of that and buying all this software and working out what's the best one and blah blah blah, AI this, AI that, and it's like, I just want to retire, and the next generation can do that. And I want to be that person that buys them and then modernizes it and systemizes it and makes it more efficient. And then within the company, we just hold more and more businesses and flip some, sell some. And then the company has a philanthropic arm or forms like a trust. Well, this will be down to the accountant to work out the best way. But then we just a philanthropic arm division to the business where we funnel money into it, and then that's what builds up. And then with that, start accumulating land and start building what my plan is for the future, where you could actually provide free homes, free clean water, nutritional food, and warmth and everything. Is just start using it that way. So it's a case of build companies first and buy and build more companies, forming a group, buy more businesses, and just build this kind of £1 billion empire. And then if that works, use the cash to do this with land.
That is so freaking cool. Oh my gosh. I love it. Like, it's all, it's step by step in a sense. It's like they're big steps, but
yeah, it's a quick overview. There's a lot of thought goes into like every detail of it.
It totally makes sense though, man. So I would imagine, like, as you're, speaking with potential clients, and certainly as you're speaking with, potential team members, that's got to be huge. Like, do their jaws drop when they hear like what you want to do?
I think, like, in the recruitment process, I shared it a lot, and people were quite stoked about it and quite enthusiastic. And they, like, when I talk to companies about recruitment, and like, I say this as someone that made a lot of mistakes recruiting people, and I always say, if you're going to put a job ad out, put two things on there. The first thing is what sucks about your company, and the second thing is what's the vision. You put what sucks because it's authentic and it's honest. And like, think of like people applying for a job that are going through all of these applications. Every application is going to have the same waffly crap like, come join our amazing family-run, multi-award-winning, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, I've just read that 20 times. And then one job ad comes up and it's like, here's what sucks about us. And then it will be things like, we're a micro business, or we're a large corporate and we don't even know your name. Whatever it is, it's just be really honest about it. Yeah. And then you catches people off guard. You're the most memorable job ad and you've been real. And then you put underneath it your vision of like, here's what we want to build. And no matter how small or how big you are, you're going to have a vision, and it hasn't got to be grandiose or anything. Like, you could literally want to just build a really nice, peaceful lifestyle business that gives you a lot of time, freedom, flexibility. And that's what you want for your team. There's going to be loads of people that are absolutely stoked on that idea and want to join a company doing that. And if you've been honest about what sucks about your business and you, and then you've got this vision, you're going to attract the right people. And so I've done that in my process when I was recruiting. Is I said that as like, here's what sucks about the company and me, and then here's what the big vision is. And then part of that was like, there's Pink Panda, but then Pink Panda plays this first domino in this goal that is 100 years long. And people were pretty ecstatic about it and excited and liked the fact that they weren't what they thought they were applying for a job, and then they were like, well, this is not even like a career, this is like a whole, I don't know, life mission.
Yeah, yeah. And I think people are hungry for that too. Like, it may not be the vision that you have, but people want to have something that they're working toward that's like bigger than them, that's bigger than just taking home a paycheck and all. And I love too. So going back a little bit, so you're, ultimately it would be fantastic to be able to buy up some of the businesses that boomers are trying to sell. What I found, for the first, 15 years mostly of my writing business, most of our clients were, like the service-based business, roofers, HVAC, this type of thing. And I always kept thinking, what is going to happen for these guys? A lot of them are baby boomers or about that. And the thing that happens is, like, they were hoping that their kids would take over someday. And a lot of those kids are like, I don't want anything to do with that. I got my own thing going. I saw how hard you worked. I don't want, no.
Yeah.
And so now they're like, well, how do I have that retirement? So you have the opportunity now, if you can buy them, fantastic. Or if you work with them as clients, like, all right, let's make this a sellable business. That's not, like, especially the trades. I know for a long time when the internet came online, it was like, I remember having conversations with like HVAC, and they're like, this internet thing, it's a fad. It's not going to be, or, oh, I've got a website. Well, it's from your manufacturer. You don't own that website. You can't do anything. They've come a long way as far as their savviness on, like, oh, wait, you got to actually do the marketing, and online is the way. How are you, like, what's your best way so far that you're actually landing new clients for Pink Panda and, the right clients for yourself?
Yeah, so for the retainer, a lot of what I've done is, so we've got a waiting list at the moment of people interested. And then with that, a lot of that was just over the last 7 years of being in business, I've just got to know a lot of people. So when I came up with the idea of what Pink Panda will become, is I just started ringing around and was like, I've got this idea, here's what I'm thinking, what do you think? And here's what I'm thinking it's gonna do. We're gonna like iterate on this. And then we'd get some feedback and then say, look, would you like to join the waiting list? There's no obligation. It's just a case of you could be interested, like if this could be valuable for your business. And a lot of the people I spoke to, I think everyone but one joins the waiting list. And then most people are just like, well, money talks. Like, show me what it will cost and what it will make my business. And then as long as the outcome's better than the income, or the input has got to be smaller than the output, then it works. And since then, we've just been going. So that's why we were supposed to launch the service in April, and then we're kicking off in March. And then we've got my garden company that we're doing it with in February. So we're a couple of weeks in. We've had a few delays, which is just a pain. But in terms of like, I've realized like finding customers for a marketing company is a lot harder than finding customers for, I don't know, I say that, like in my head, it's much harder to find clients for a marketing company than for a garden company. But then I say that I've got a waiting list and we're starting sooner than what we planned to.
It doesn't sound like it was that hard.
Yeah, maybe it's not. But I did have, so like in my garden company, I had a very predictable system. So I could buy a van, hire 2 people, and then their diary would be full within a couple of months because I just had very predictable systems to draw people in. And the way that I did that actually was analog marketing. It was all through, I got really obsessed with leaflet psychology, like really obsessed, and just improved upon it and iterated upon it, and then just got better and better and better with it.
That's incredible. So, and that's wild. And I know here, like a lot of times, like for, yard type companies, it would be, you find like, here's a paper bag, a plastic bag, and it's got a rock and it's got a brochure and a flyer or something. The rock is to keep it from blowing away, and it's something so old school. So the yard signs, that type of thing. Like all these, now it's like guerrilla marketing. These older skills, of actually collecting. So you've had it with the garden company. You had plenty of time outside, maybe more than you ever wanted. Now I know sometimes it can be really hard to, all right, I'm going to step away from the keyboard. I'm going to go outside. What do you find the most rewarding outdoor activity where you're going to get fantastic ideas? Because I can tell, like, you're a thinker. You've got a lot of plans that are very, very big. You've got strategies to, well, what if we did this? How about that? anything that you can do to boost that time where your brain is free to just create. What does that look like for you? What's the best way?
I mean, the best way is, I've done it a few times and I don't get to do it near enough, but like, especially in England, is going to, we've got like some beautiful like old villages around, floated all over the country, all over the island. But just having like a long weekend away where you just like, you rent a converted barn or something, and you're just like staying in like this old idyllic town. And I remember like a trip I took a couple years ago, because like my brain's constant and like I can't, like I'm a nightmare to be around because I'm just constant. Like I come home and it's just like a million more. Like my girlfriend and I, when we have a conversation about our day, and she's like, I ask her what she got up to, and then she'll have like a few bits, oh, I did this and I kind of did that. And then she's like, so what did you do today? And I'm just like, and it's just ridiculous. And so, but yeah, I remember a couple of years ago, I had this trip where did I go? It was somewhere in England, and we just stayed in this converted barn. And it was just so beautiful and serene. And every morning I got up and there was this little patch of decking that looked out across, really can't remember where we were, but it was down to the beach and then to the sea. And there was just this little decking. And every morning I got up and just rolled my yoga mat out and just did yoga there. And it was the most beautiful thing. And then we'd just like sit reading and just spend time relaxing. And actually another one I had a week away in Finland a few years back, and I stayed on a lake, cabin on a lake, and it had a little pontoon with a springboard that you could dive into the lake. And like that, I just spent the whole week doing nothing but just reading. And that was phenomenal. And I always find the amount of times, like if you can stop and be like, let your mind, like to me it's doing nothing, but you're just being present in a moment, like going for, as I was talking before we started recording, like going for like a family dog walk in the countryside, in a country park. Like it feels unproductive work-wise, but when you stop and just let your mind relax and just relax and unwind and just have a conversation with someone with nothing to do with work, you often have just so many brainwaves. I always walk away from moments like that where I'm just like, oh my God, ideas.
Yes,
Rambled on there of like, I haven't really given you one concise answer, but there's a few examples there.
That's fantastic. That's perfect, actually. So, and it's so wild because it's like, I think entrepreneurs get very nervous if they have that sense of boredom. I don't know if for me, I know it's like that. Like if I feel like, oh, this is weird. If I'm in a situation that I feel bored, I'm like, that's not normal. I can't be normal, you know. But it's actually really, really good for your brain to have that. Like you've let off the gas a little bit and, you know, all that trickles down. Have you had that experience where that sense of, oh?
I've never had boredom because like me and my mind can sit and just ponder things for a long time.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, let me rephrase it then. So it's more like we tend not to get bored, but I kind of am starting to imagine that maybe there's benefit in that, to doing something where you slow it down enough that your brain is the only thing that's out like romping around and getting the ideas. Do you see
It's
what I'm
like,
saying?
because I think it's not rushing. It's just being in, like, you're always rushing every moment of every day. Like I'm always just trying to get as much done as I can, and like being stuck in, I feel like I'm always stuck in a traffic jam in my mind, and like work is just, I live in a traffic jam and I'm just like, and I'm late for the appointment. That's what life is. And doing something that's in the moment is like, you just pull your car over and get out and you walk over this hill and suddenly you realize there's a beach there the whole time, and it's like, all right, well, I'll just go sit on the beach instead of sitting in this traffic jam and accept that I'm late for the appointment. That's kind of what it's like. But for me, I sit on the beach and I'm constantly reminding myself that I'm late for the appointment. And that's kind of what it's like. But it's nice to just accept that you're late for the appointment sometimes.
Oh, I really like how you put that. I'm gonna be thinking about that a bit. I
Could be a nice visual in my mind.
Yeah, no, that's a great word picture of like, that is the experience. All right. Okay, so you've got, 100 years. How old are you right now?
28.
28. 100.
I'm planning to be around for it.
Yeah, you got to take good care of yourself. You got a lot of, smart moves to make between here and there. What do you feel like, where's the biggest next hill that you want to, like, you're marching up this hill. What's the next hill for you that's like, okay, this is the next thing to aim at, and then
Yeah. The hill right now is getting Pink Panda to a point where it's cash flow positive. So we've got the investor that's funding, like, building the company, and it's then getting that to a point where it sustains. And I've like described it as spring loading it. So the whole idea is we're gonna have it working for that team and just stick to like a handful of people. So we're like less than 10 the whole time. But the idea is that we want to build a system, because one thing I did in my garden company is where I had a high churn rate of staff, I was like, I need to be removed from training people because it takes so long. Like, I need to be able to have one-on-one time with everyone. And like, I can't have something where it takes a month to train someone. It needs to be quick. So I documented everything in content: how we mow a lawn, how we trim, how we blow, how we cut hedges, how we prune, how we load the vans, how we drive, everything, how we interact with customers was all documented in content. And then that would be shared with employees when they joined and everything. And that was then utilized in marketing and whatnot, and like show that to clients, and they're amazed at what you're doing and how you look after their gardens and such, and how systemized it is. So I want to do the same thing in Pink Panda, where I've created, so the roles that I've got, I call it the marketing maverick, the social sorcerer, and the web wizard. And I've pretty much fabricated them out of just this idea for a business plan. And it's got to be proven that it works. And once it works with the handful of team members, my idea is that we will stay like that for a while, all the while building the brand as best we can, hosting a lot of events, making those events bigger and bigger and bigger, doing things like this where I'm on podcasts or speaking or on the radio, whatever it is, and get to a point where we can spring load. And the idea being, I essentially want to create like a Pink Panda Academy, where a web wizard, a social sorcerer, a marketing maverick, in order for them to be hired, they have to complete the academy. And we need to build all of that, create all the content for it, and then build it and turn it into an actual course. So the idea being that the spring load will be stick to a small team, but then build all of that. And once we've got it, is then go from a team of 5 to a team of 50 within the space of a year or two. That's the plan.
That's so cool.
So that's the next hill is that.
Yeah, that's the next hill. That's great. And I love, all right, so I have to ask, have you read, it sounds like you could have written it, but The E-Myth Revisited, that book?
Read it. I've friggin' studied that book.
I knew it. I'm like, this guy is building that. So.
Yeah. Michael Gerber doesn't realize, but we're actually best friends. Like, I know that guy.
Right? He's my best friend too. How about that?
Yeah, you've got no idea who I am, but I know him.
I love that. Oh, I get more. I like on a whole new level. I get you now. It's so cool. Oh man.
I love, like, my favorite books, like business books I've read, are all stories. Yeah. And like, so in the E-Myth, where it's Sarah and the bakery, and it's going through this journey, and it's a similar thing. Like, all of my favorite books, it's not just like, here's business class 101 and what to do. It's like, here's a story, and this person's going to go through the lessons of the book. And I just love that. And yeah, my copy of the E-Myth, I have like my thing with books are, I never like to share them out or anything, and I want to own the book, and I read the actual book itself, because I scribble in it, underline things, and then I've read loads of books, but then what I do more now is study books. So like with Pink Panda, the foundations are built from a handful of books, and I've read all of those books time and time again, and you open them and they're just like, every page has got scribbles on, notes, underlined things. And yeah, I feel like, what's the expression I heard where it's like, rather than reading 50 books a year, is practice one book 50 times a year, kind of thing.
Yes. Man, you have such wisdom. I mean, 28 is pretty young, I gotta say. I'm 57, so my son is 28. And like, for you to have sought out these books and made such good friends with them, and to be digesting them so thoroughly and taking action on them, like, that is so freaking wise. I'm blown away. That is really, really cool. Like, there's no limit on what I think you could create with this, and the fact that you're driven by this massive dream. Like, I'm all in. Like, how can we help, right?
You got to spare 100 million, that'll help.
No, if I did. So cool.
It's funny, like, my investor, when we met because I did his garden, and we'd do the garden like once a year. So they would look after it, but once a year we'd come in and just do the heavy duty stuff. And with that, the company was different every year we were there. And then suddenly I was there, and he came out, Sean his name is, and he's like, what are you doing here? And I was like, staff and everything. I've shrunk the company down, and turned it into a little micro business. He's like, no, what do you mean? And we had this whole conversation. So he built and sold companies. And towards the end, we like ended up stood there for like an hour just talking about business and like what had gone, like to me, what had gone wrong and what had failed. And he was like, no, you should have 50 vans on the road. He's like, I've never known anything like this. We've had a whole bunch of gardeners before over the years. Just the way your vans look, your branding, your communication, it's just, we've not experienced it before. You should have 50 vans on the road. Why haven't you? Do you ever want to build a company again? And I was like, yeah, I want to build companies. I don't know if it's this one, but I want to build a company. And he was like, look, if you ever want to talk business, I'm here. And I was like, I will finish this job, go home, shower, come back. And
I'll be right back.
and we met up a couple of days later, and we ended up talking for 4.5 hours, just sharing anecdotes. And it'd be like, something's gone wrong in business, or a time someone quit and then left and started up and stole customers, or a time we went to court and another time we went to court. And it was just like this game of table tennis of sharing like different shit sandwiches of what had happened throughout life. And after the conversation, he was like, this is all to do with you saying about wisdom. And he was just like, he'd been in business for decades and was like, how have you crammed this into 5 years? Admittedly, lockdown did a lot to give me a lot of experience. Like the amount of, it's funny because like people that have been in business for decades up until that point, they'd had like employees have like all kinds of crazy life scenarios go on, or like mental breakdowns or whatever it was. People try and do all kinds of things, and like all these different things that happen, and maybe they had an event or a recession that wiped out a chunk of their business and stuff. Whereas for a lot of businesses in lockdown, that all happened at once. So it just crammed a lot of lessons in. And if you was obsessed with learning and improving, and the whole, as I said, like with my mind, I just don't accept, like even though there was a lockdown, I was like, don't accept that there's nothing to do. I don't accept, even if we're not considered key workers, I don't accept that we can't make this business work. And so that like made things work quite well. And I was like, this is still going to be an opportunity to grow something. So like I did in lockdown, I did this thing, I called it isolation ideas. So it was just like what to do. Oh, talking of like entrepreneurs gone wild. So I just did this like weekly video of something to do in your garden or in an open space to get outside. And it'd be things, even if it was just like something dumb or whatever. Like I did a bee hotel video where I just like made a bee hotel and was like, here's what to do this week on isolation ideas. And assuming you've got nothing in your house to do, and what bits of wood you can put together to build it. And then I did another one that was like using vegetable offcuts to grow veg. None of the bloody veg took and grew. I was like, it's something to do and try and experiment with. And if it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. Yeah, I made little bunny rabbit because it was Easter one week. So I did bunny rabbit logs and then showed how you could cut them if you just had a handsaw and a couple logs and just cut a branch and cut it, and how to make little bunny rabbits out of it. Yeah, had a few isolation ideas that I did. So I love it. Find a way to make it work.
Yeah, no, I think that's the theme. I think you're figuring out how to make things work, and you're not too proud to like borrow, like study, borrow, use what people have already created.
Oh yeah, everything I've done is borrowed idea.
Yeah, that's fantastic. That's it. All right, man. All right, where can people find out more about working with you?
I'm most present on LinkedIn. Pretty much the only thing I focus on at the moment is LinkedIn. So my name's Hayden Bloomfield, the 100-year goal on LinkedIn. So you can find me there. And then there's the Pink Panda website, which is, you can find it on LinkedIn anyway, but it's pinkpanda.london. So that's where we are.
I love it. That's so cool. And how did you name your company? I wanted to ask you that too.
So the name Pink Panda, the short story is I thought of it. The long story is it involves expensive urine.
Oh.
So I got about, so it was like a year before I started Pink Panda, I kind of got really focused on my health, and like, so I want to live well beyond 100, and I want to be at like 80, 90, 100 running around like the lunatic I am with a lot of energy. So I'm trying to get to a point where I make no emotional decision what goes in my body. Like science and data tells me what to eat, when to sleep, how to sleep. And one thing I started taking was these supplements focused on brain nutrients. So it's just a concentration of the nutrients your brain needs to thrive. So I started taking them, and the first thing you get is bright yellow pea because it's full of B vitamins. Yes. And a few months went by, and so far all I was aware of that I had bright yellow pea, and I was like, have I just got expensive urine at this point? and then 5-6 months in, suddenly my brain was just like on fire, and I could just like solve things instantly. Like so many things would go wrong, or whatever was going wrong, I could just solve it. And like one example was where I alluded that I was consulting with this business on helping their strategy and whatnot, this was around the time I was about to start Pink Panda. I wrote a 40-page presentation for their business plan into the marketing, the sales, the operations, the finance. That 40-page presentation took me like 3 hours, and I just sat there and went, like, just created, like, everything just came to me of like how this business model would work.
Yeah.
And it's like, if you imagine trying to think about like how you get your customers, how you fund it, like this is all a long process that like people will sit down in groups and come up with. And I just kind of like sat there and just typed it all out instantly. And when it like around all of that time, I was like, I want to make this company that's all around content. Content's what built my garden company. And like going back to the isolation ideas, it's very obvious listening to that. It's like, dude, you shouldn't be running a garden company. You should be doing something that involves marketing and content. Like clearly that's what you love.
Yeah.
And came up with a concept. And originally when I started Pink Panda, it was just making content. So it was like, I wanted all this content, so I'm going to make a company that just makes content as like one-off projects, which sucks because there was no monthly recurring revenue, and I would do it and customers just wouldn't know how to utilize it. And when I came up with the original idea, I was like, I want a name that's punchy, memorable. I love alliteration. And I was like, something like Pink Panda. And I was like, Pink Panda Productions, perfect. Like, there we go. That's the story. And it's all to do with my brain just was full of the nutrients that helps it thrive.
I like your brain, and I like those nutrients. That's fantastic. That's so cool.
Yeah.
Very cool, man. Well, Hayden, thank you so much. This has been really, really cool. I'm rooting for you so hard. I think it's just exciting to see what you're going to do. I hope that you'll stay in touch. Come back for sure. I want to hear more.
Yeah, definitely. Do it in like a year's time and see if I've either gone bust or made it work. We'll find out.
Well, either way, you're going to be doing something outstanding. So the only way you're switching is if you find something different that's more effective and more powerful and more incredible. So that's awesome. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Sue.